execute policies and plans of Auckland Council, this being a very significant plan of Auckland Council. My preference would be that it was A, to receive, B, to refer.
We can do that.
Otherwise, I'm left with the inevitable situation of having to oppose the recommendation.
Put a full stop.
I do want to know, though, when A and B, if they are both successful, how does Council intend to meet its obligations in the laws of the Independent Māori Statutory Board in assisting to design and execute this plan?
Madam Chair, okay. So, David, Member Taipari, as you're aware, this is a process that's pretty iterative. So, at the governing body meeting, and we're constrained by time, you'll be aware that there's been a number of opportunities through either formal committee meetings, through the Finance and Performance Committee, and or workshops where everyone has had a chance to sort of input in. That input is pretty much reflected in my proposal, and that includes input from the IMSB. Then once we have a draft proposal to go out to the community, it'll go out and receive input that will be from the IMSB specifically, and also the broader Māori community, come back in for consideration. It'll go through a Finance and Performance Committee, or rather the Annual Plan Committee, for consideration of public input. IMSB will be part of that, and then of course finally it'll be determined through the governing body, I think in late June. So there'll be plenty of opportunity at a committee level for yourself and the IMSB representative to get right over the process and appropriate feedback and decision-making capacity.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Fletcher.
Oh, thank you, Madam Chair. I want to acknowledge this as the final time that the Mayor will make this presentation and to us, and I want to acknowledge what has come before, and I want to be gracious, if I can, today in terms of recognising the concessions that you have actually made. I mean, I could say too little too late. I certainly heard the concession that you made that at the beginning of this amalgamated council, perhaps we should have more closely interrogated some of those legacy long-term plans, because I think had we taken a process then of much clearer prioritisation, we may not have been saddled with the frustration that we've experienced from the community. We've heard from some of the councillors about their concerns over staff and their need for stability, and I agree with that. I think certainly, I look at the parks portfolio and I know how important it is that we get the stability there. But we mustn't underestimate the importance for our community also in having stability. And that has been at the heart of the criticism that I've levelled at your direction, because I know that in the community that I represent, the pain that we have inflicted on them, and I have brought that to the table regularly, not to denigrate you in any personal way, Mr. Mayor, and I say that through the chair, but simply because this is the appropriate place to bring the needs of our community together. So in recognising the budget that you've put before us today, I also want to recognise the work that you've done in the area of transport. I've watched you as you've gone around the region. I haven't attended all of the transport presentations that you have given, but I've attended a fair few of them. And you've addressed some pretty antagonistic audiences. And I think what came out of those opportunities were the majority of people going away with a much clearer understanding of what the future of Auckland has to hold in the area of transport. And in so many ways, you've served us very well as our Mayor, especially on the side of transport. But on the negative side, it was the recognition too little too late that there was a point that the public would continue to support and trust, and what was going to be just too big a ask. And that point for me, and I'm sorry that Councillor Crum is not here at the moment, was the refusal to countenance a rates cap. I think the amendment that Councillor Crum and I put up would have gone a long, long way to have actually helping our public to have understand a commitment towards equitable equity in terms of rates. And on a more humorous note, I very rarely get given anything in my councillor role, but I didn't put it on any gift register, but I went along to the opening of the Mount Albert Aquatic Centre, and I was given this magnificent white cap. And I see this as the rates cap, and I am going to give it to you, Mr. Mayor, because I think...
Put it on.
In fact, I'll bring it around and I'll give it to you.
Yeah, put it on. Let's get a photo for Facebook.
I think, yeah, thank you. Had enough of that bloody thing, Facebook.
But that's the message that I want to leave, is I want the investment,
Thank
but
you.
I also want to deliver it
don't
in a
worry.
more equitable
Yeah, no,
way.
it'll-
And I think a rates cap would have been the way that we should have.
And it'll help with inundation as well.
Thank you, Councillor Fletcher, and on that very humorous note is probably a good
I
way
hadn't,
to...
there was
Hasn't
one
put
it
further
on.
thing said as I was
Oh, there we are.
misbehaving.
Hang on, we've got the togs. We've got the togs coming.
I've got the toes.
See you in your nunges.
I draw a line at that.
See you in your nunges, smugglers now.
But Madam Chair, I really feel that the council is beginning to turn the corner. It is a little bit too little too late, but I do want to recognise Stephen Town, the ELT, and the team that, in general, that he has been able to introduce to the Auckland Council, and just the level of maturity that we're beginning to see on lots of issues within the debate. I'd like to recognise Matthew here today, how much I've enjoyed working with him as we've come through this process, and Andrew and Sue Tyndall. Thank you for enabling questions that we have consistently asked to be answered, and that we can actually go on this journey of trying to find that equity together. And I really do think that we are seeing the influence coming through from our CEO, and we have turned the corner. But we must never forget the burden that we place on our communities when we don't actually consider how they're going to pay those rates and what is fair. So I want to, again, just finish on a note, a serious note, of thanking the Mayor for what he has been willing to undertake in terms of transport. But, you know, it's how we get the balance right, and the devil's in the detail. And I would just ask that all councillors remain mindful. We have perhaps concepts of what areas are like. And there is always the assumption if you live in an area that's wealthier or supposedly more middle class, that they have that capacity and the resilience to just keep paying. And I see the pain, and I know that in some situations it's just not deliverable. So I just ask that we try and keep that sense of fairness and proportionality in mind, and so hence the cap.
Thank you, Councillor Fletcher. I'm going to put the recommendation. All those in favour?
By division.
Aye. Oh, by division.
And
okay.
And separately, Madam Chair,
Well, we've changed it to A and B.
yeah,
Oh, okay. Right.
separately.
All right. So A, by division.
Your Worship,
Aye.
Councillor Nye,
Aye.
Councillor Brewer,
Against.
Councillor Casey,
Yes, but record my vote against rates for large farms being consulted on.
Oh, no to democracy.
No, it's either
Oh, come on,
proposal or
you
not.
can't be saying that.
You can consult
Just
on the
receiving
travel levy.
It's receiving the annual plan.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's what you do.
Councillor Cashmore,
Yes.
Councillor Clow,
Yes.
Councillor Cooper,
Yes.
Councillor Darby,
Four.
Councillor Filipaina,
Aye.
Councillor Fletcher,
No.
Deputy Mayor Hulse,
Aye.
Councillor Penrose,
Yes.
Councillor Quacks,
No.
Councillor Stewart,
No.
Member Taipari,
Aye.
Councillor Sir John Walker. Yes. Councillor Watson,
Yes.
Councillor Wood,
No.
Councillor Webster.
Yes. And B, do we want that by division as well?
No.
So I'll
This
put
annual
B,
plan's going to be a
refer
cliffhanger.
it to the annual plan, to the 17th of December governing body meeting. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against?
Oh,
Carried.
have my name
Thank
recorded,
you.
please.
Thank you, councillors. We've have lunch now, and then we come back here at
Explain why.
just after 1, and we'll have a workshop
Moves us.
on the. Matthew's going to take us through how we're going to
Decision.
the rates guide. Sorry, for the UAGC, which I'm sure is very important for many of you. About 1:10. 10:10. Thanks.